Evening peeps, good evening everyone. Got some good news, some big news as well. Well, big news in my world. Before I tell you that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Also, I need you guys to do me a favor. If you have Instagram and you haven't followed me yet, please do. So everyone watching this right now, if you haven't followed me on Instagram, please do. It's a necessary evil. I say that because I'm not the biggest fan of Instagram. I think 95% of it is bullshit, but I am going to be the other 5%. I do post quite a bit. I post sort of what's going on in sort of my career. So a lot of what's going on behind the scenes at boxing events, talk sport, a bit of gym stuff as well. So if you're into any of that shit, then yeah, please give me a follow. It's OLADIPO. If you're one of those people that don't have Instagram and you don't want to get Instagram, I feel lucky for you. I feel lucky for you because trust me, if I didn't need it, I wouldn't have it either. But I have been told by certain people that I need to kind of up my Instagram game. So the target is 10,000. I think we're probably around 7,000. So please, again, if you haven't followed me, please do. And I will be posting some good content on there. So yeah, please do. The big news that I was talking about, I got a call from the head of boxing at The Zone a couple of days ago. And they reached out and said they want me out at the Ryan Garcia Javier Fortuna fight, which is obviously July 16th. And I was like, okay. Initially, I thought I was going to go out there and do like a DAZN boxing show with Ak and Barak, but they want me as the lead presenter. So the main man, me. Kate Abdo can't do it, so they've asked me to do it. And that's crazy. Honestly, that's crazy. That's probably, I mean, I've done quite a few big things, or like to, consider them big things, but this is probably my biggest gig. Yeah, it's probably my biggest gig. I've done lead presenter over here for Chisora Parker and a Lawrence Okoli fight, but nothing like that in America. Not lead presenter anyway. So yeah, I'm excited, very, very nervous. So it's weird, you get the phone call, you get told, you get excited, and then you get nerves. So right now, I'm feeling nervous, but I know once I put my head down and study, I think I'll do a good enough job. I think I will. Very quickly as well, thank you so much for the feedback. I'm pointing over there because Craig Richards was over there. Thank you for the feedback regarding the Craig Richards interview. They're going to get better. I'm going to get better at them as well. I'm trying to think who next. I'd love to speak to Andy Clark. I know that's a bit left field, boxing commentator, just because I think his knowledge of the sport's incredible and he's such a good speaker. So I'd love to get him in. And I'd also love to get the man that we're going to speak about on this video next, Joe Joyce, in as well. I've spoken to Joe Joyce a few times for Talk Sport, and I actually think he's not as, I know people sort of look at him as quite boring. I think there's a bit of a character in there, and I think I can get that character out of him if he comes here and sits and talks to me for about an hour. So those are probably my next two guests, but I am going to try and be a lot more consistent on it. All right, let's start this video properly now with Joe Joyce. Obviously, beat Christian Hamer yesterday, stopped him in the fourth round, nice little body shot. It's weird, I don't know how to grade that performance because on the one hand, I know Christian Hamer was a late replacement. Obviously the idea was Joseph Parker. But on the one hand, he got the job done and got the stoppage. On the other hand, with my critical boxing eye on, he got hit way too much. Now, the aim of the game is to hit and not get hit. And don't get me wrong, not everyone can be Floyd Mayweather or Pernell Whitaker with those defensive skills. But I mean, you can see Christian Hamer's punches coming from a mile away and they're still connecting. They're still landing. I know like people like to dine out on the fact that he's called the juggernaut and he's got this chin that no one can crack. Well, it will eventually crack. It will. I've seen this scenario play out so many times in the lower weight divisions. It will eventually crack. It happens to everyone. Guys that you think have the toughest chins in the world, like Margarito dined out on the fact that in order for him to land one, he has to take one. And look, it done Margarito well, right? I mean, he was a world champion. He was a very, very good 147 pounder. Eventually, Shane Mosley cracked that chin. Shane Mosley cracked it eventually. Someone will crack it. And I just can't believe that Joe Joyce's defensive skills are that bad. I'm just not accepting it. So it makes me wonder if it's just a case of he is so confident in his ability now to take a punch that he's almost got that Margarito mentality of, I'm just going to get to you no matter what. And that's okay when you're fighting guys in and around sort of the top sort of 20 to 30. Once you start fighting guys that are top 10 heavyweights that can hit very, very hard, but have a gas tank to continually hit you for 12 rounds, there's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. I know some people might say, well, you know, Daniel Dubois is a heavy hitter and he landed. Daniel Dubois eventually succumbed to the gas tank and succumbed to Joe Joyce's jab and, you know, Joe Joyce's boxing ability, which is still quite crude, but there's ability there. There'd be other heavyweights in the division that I don't know if he can continually take that kind of punishment from. I don't know. I mean, can he take that kind of punishment from Hrgović, AJ, Wilder? Can he take that punishment? I mean, I saw, I can't remember his name now. He works for Dev. Is that his name? Dev Shani, who does stuff for BT Sports. And he was like, I think he tweeted something along the lines of, you know, it's 10-ounce gloves, it's 12 rounds, that Joe Joyce will just walk down Usyk or something like that. And I was like, Usyk will piece him up. Like literally, Usyk's movement and punch power as well and size, Usyk's not a small heavyweight anymore, will just piece Joe Joyce up. I think Joe Joyce is a very good heavyweight, but this style, I'm just not liking it. I'm not liking anyone I see get hit that much. It's difficult for me to give you plaudits. I will give him some because, again, it was a year out and Christian Hamer's, you know, a decent name, a decent opposition. But again, that kind of punishment that Joe Joyce takes, and I saw it firsthand. I was ringside for Carlos Takam, and I was like, what is this? Like, you can't get hit by guys that big and it not take its toll. You can't. And I'm not just talking about him getting knocked out and him, you know, not becoming well. I'm talking about future life. You can't get hit like that. Maybe it's too late to work on those defensive skills. I don't know. But again, I'm going to give him credit for the win. But there has to be a level of concern when a fighter takes as much punishment as Joe Joyce takes. Jason Cunningham took a lot of punishment as well, got beat by Zelani Tete. I spoke to Adam Cattrall about this fight when it was announced, and I was like, geez, that's a risky one. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know that in the lead up to it, you look at Jason Cunningham's record and he's got some decent wins on there. But I mean, Zelani Tete, and I think maybe they had slept on him a little bit because he got beat by Casemiro, had a fight, but really and truly he's been inactive for like 3.5 years. So they maybe thought, okay, 34, he's moving up in weight, you know, mentally, where is he after the Casemiro? Maybe they thought all those things. Boy, Zelani Tete showed that there's a lot left, a huge amount left in the tank. At that level anyway. I mean, in order to beat Zelani Tete, to be fair, you've got to be, I think, world level. I don't think you're going to beat Zelani Tete in your European level. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think he's far too good for that. But look, I mean, you know, there'll be an argument saying, you know, you've got to roll the dice sometimes and see where you are. And obviously they rolled the dice and their numbers didn't come up. Zelani Tete is a scary individual. He tweeted after saying, you know, I'm sorry to Jason Cunningham, but I had to do that. I had to do it. I was like, gee, that's quite frightening. I wonder if Frank, I'm sure, does have some sort of deal with Zelani Tete now. We've seen him over here a couple of times. So I wonder if he'll stay over here for his next couple of fights. But I mean, again, I spoke about this with Heki Butler a couple of weeks ago or last week. It's good for South African boxing because, you know, these fighters have gone abroad recently and lost. So now Heki Butler, Zelani Tete, the others now will gain some confidence from that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Jason Cunningham does. He's 34, I believe. I mean, you know, he took some punishment, didn't he? So we'll see what happens with him next. All right, let's look at this one. Let's go through some of the news on the boxing forums. Golovkin, a retirement is a hard question. We will look at attractiveness of fights. So basically, we'll look at what money is being put on the table. And again, you have to, I guess, at Golovkin's age, maybe weigh up, risk and reward. There are some money fights out there. There's nothing that immediately jumps out at me, especially when you think of what Golovkin's been earning with DAZN for the last couple of years. No one's paying that kind of money for Golovkin, unless obviously he beats Canelo. Then there's a different conversation, but not quite sure. Not quite sure what's going to happen with Golovkin after the Canelo fight. I expect Canelo to win, and I do then expect Golovkin to retire. I do. Virgil Ortiz, I'm back, I'm better, I'm stronger, I'm 100% now. We'll see. We'll see. I still think there's an issue of him making the 147-pound limit. I heard that from a few people. He doesn't seem to be the biggest welterweight, but I mean, everyone's body's different, right? So we'll see what's going to happen. Obviously, it's good as well that this fight is Mickinson. Again, I'm happy that Mickinson's getting the opportunity. We'll see what he can do in America, Mickinson. This news broke a couple of days ago that Alicia Baumgardner versus Michaela Mayer is going to be on the same card as Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall in the UK. So that's definitely going to be on pay-per-view, that 100%. How big is that? How big is that? That's incredible by Sky. Honestly, that's incredible. Did not expect that. Obviously, we know that Sky have done this deal with Top Rank and ESPN, and obviously Michaela Mayer fights on that. But I still expected that fight to be in America. I mean, co-main and main female fights. I'm sure there's been that, but I can't think of when the last time that happened. And I think it's going to do good numbers as well. I think that's going to be pretty good. And I think it's the O2 as well, isn't it? I'd love to be there for that. So I'm definitely going to try and get myself a ticket. But congratulations to Sky on getting that. Sky also recently signed Liam Smith. Very disappointed. I'm speaking from a fan now and someone that I guess works for DAZN. I'm surprised by this. Like in the last sort of month, Liam Smith, Chris Billam-Smith, Joseph Parker. And you think of all of those three guys have had really good performances recently on DAZN in their last fights. Billam-Smith beat Tommy McCarthy, really good performance. Joseph Parker, Derek Chisora, Liam Smith, Jesse Vargas in America before that, Anthony Fowler. But with him going to Sky, I guess, look, he's trying to set up the Eubank fight. That would obviously mean Liam Smith going up to 160. That's fine. He's a very, very bigger. He's probably naturally bigger than Chris Eubank Jr. He probably is. I know in saying that I might be contradicting myself because Chris has obviously fought at 168. Liam Smith, I think the limit is 154, I believe. I don't think he's fought at 160. Let me have a look, actually. Has Liam Smith fought 164? He might have, He's a big guy. I don't think he has. Oh, BoxRec's not working. Maybe he has in like a comeback catchweight fight, but his weight is 154 pounds. But having met both of them, Liam Smith does look physically a bit bigger, a bit wider than Chris Eubank Jr. Again, look, if Sky land that fight, another big fight. Sky ain't fucking about, are they? They're really not. Javier Fortuna, Ryan Garcia does not have talent and the capacity to beat me. Well, I'll be there for that one, won't I? I'm about to say ringside, but the studio bit is always a bit away from ringside, but I will be there for that one. I've been told that I will be working on the event with Sean Porter and one other as well. It's crazy, isn't it? Fucking from the green chair to the crypto.com arena. And for those of you that don't know what that is, that's where the LA Lakers play. Hate that name, crypto.com. But yeah, looking forward to it. Crawford dismisses Spence comparison in their wins over Porter. Oh yeah, completely. Crawford was much better than Errol Spence. Errol Spence Porter was close, very, very close. And Crawford obviously got rid of Porter. So yeah, Crawford definitely put on the better performance. But Spence fought him first, so was there more wear and tear when Porter fought Crawford? It can go both ways. Hearn on Canelo GGG 3. This is the only time to make this trilogy. Yeah, it was. And look, it almost worked out perfect for them just because of Canelo losing to Bivol, GGG eventually getting the job done against Murata, and now their head-to-heads have been spicy. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. They're selling the fight quite well. They've been very, very spicy. Was it a bit early to do that, Presser? When's the fight? September 17th, right? So we're still, a couple of months away, but I guess you get the juices flowing for it. Joe Joyce, I'm looking for Usyk Joshua winner. Fury if he returns. I'm at that level. This is interesting. And I'm not going to dispute that he's not at that level. I don't think he is, but I'm not going to scream and shout about it. But But you look at the resume of Joe Joyce, and he still hasn't fought a top 10, top 15 guy. That's fact, right? I mean, Dubois isn't that. Bryant Jennings at the time, I don't think was that. Christian Hamer, Carlos Takam, these aren't top 10, top 15 guys. So maybe there's work for him to do with someone in the top 10. Obviously, that guy was going to be Joseph Parker. It'd be very interesting to see what Frank can do. Because if we're brutally honest, he's a long way from getting in that mix. Not because he doesn't deserve to be, but Usyk Joshua winner will fight Fury, especially if it is AJ. So you're looking at another, I mean, say Joshua does beat Usyk August, he's not going to fight again, you know, and the record tells me this is so until maybe May or bloody whenever next year, and that ideally will be Fury. So Joe Joyce is a year away at least from getting anywhere near that mix, and that's a long, long time. What we got here? Joshua on Fury's training offer. Could I learn anything from him? Honestly, no. Look, Joshua just needs to concentrate and forget all that Fury offering to train him. That's not going to happen at all, is it? Joseph Parker believes Joe Joyce showdowns can still be made. What we do know is that boxer Ben Shalom offered Joe Joyce 1.5 million, I think it was, to come over. So obviously they're looking at that as a pay-per-view fight. I put this to Joe. I spoke to Joe for Talk Sport about a week ago, and I said, look, surely your management team have looked at that and think, God, we want that offer. That's big money. And he says, well, you don't know what BT Sports offered Joseph Parker. They didn't offer him that kind of money. They didn't. I mean, if they did, he would be bloody fighting on BT Sport right now. You know, they didn't offer him that money. So I don't know about that. Anything else before we get going? Bloody hell, Briedis lost in Australia, didn't he? Apologies, I forgot. I have not watched the fight. He lost to, I'm going to pronounce this guy's name wrong, and I do apologise. Jai Opetaia? I think that might be correct, actually. That must be one of the biggest wins for an Australian, just performance. No controversy. I mean, it's not like the Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao performance, which I know some of you are probably screaming at the TV now saying that's the biggest win. I think this could be it. I think a lot of people already assumed Briedis was going to get through this and fight Riakporhe or Coley or maybe a unification fight against Makabu. All of a sudden, Briedis is no longer a champion. And I know that Matchroom offered him some, an opportunity to fight Okoli. He probably wished that he took that fight now. Or well, maybe not actually, because Okoli might have been able to beat him. But credit to Opetaia. I've not seen the fight again, but I know his jaw was broken in a couple of places. And he still just kept on going, kept on fighting. So look, big win for him. The Sauerlands, Cali in particular, have tweeted out that rematch, and we're going to do that. Like not every time a favourite loses, do we need to see a rematch? Like obviously, if they've got a rematch clause in there, then okay. But we don't need to see it all the time. Right now, what we need to see is this Opetaia versus Riakporhe or Okoli. Ideally, Okoli. That's what we need to see. We don't need to see a bloody rematch. What for? For Briedis, that's just bad news, isn't it? Bad news. Joe Joyce here saying, I'd prefer to not rely on my chin. I'd prefer to block, slip and counter. Well, then fucking do it. Jesus Christ, man. Anything else? 2 secs. Alexander Usyk opens up about defending Ukraine during war. I was praying not to be killed. That is scary. How scary is that? Like, he would have no fear going into a boxing ring. Like, obviously there'll be an element of when these guys go in that you're going to get hurt. But I mean, if he was, look, I didn't understand what he was doing in Ukraine in terms of, was he actually on the front line? Was he out there like defend? I didn't know, but obviously from that sentence alone, sounds like he was, which is crazy. Lomachenko's still there, right? Jesus Christ, man. Anything else, guys, before we go? Regis Prograis, how the fuck are 2 140-pound titles vacant and I'm not fighting for any? Crazy, isn't it? That is crazy. Because, I mean, let's be honest here. Prograis is the second best 140-pounder on the planet. He is He is. I mean, it was razor thin between him and Josh Taylor, and he's not fighting. What is interesting though, I think I saw it, that Ramirez is fighting for one of the vacant titles. And the reason I say that's interesting is because there was a lot of talk about Ramirez versus Conor Benn. That's not going to happen now because Ramirez is fighting for a £140 title. Conor Benn went to go and see Matchroom the other day, and they said big fight news coming. And then you start racking your brain, what can this be? Like, you know, almost now a case of, it isn't going to be him because he's fighting him, and it isn't going to be him. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Avanesian? Are we going to see that? We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Anything else? Austin Trout fighting July 15th in Germany against Florian Cardos. If you don't retire from boxing, boxing will retire you. All right, guys, girls, we are done. Peace and love.